Glory, honor, and praise be to you, Almighty God, the Father of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Thank you for this time of being able to share and grow as a family. Allow us to be your vessel, speak through us. Let us not put on a performance or anything for our selfish ambition or vain conceit. And we just pray that this is an instrument that you use to benefit others, to glorify yourself, and to build your kingdom. In your name we pray. Amen.
So this video is just going to be us college students talking to our parents and asking them questions that other college students are too afraid to ask. Maybe they're not too afraid, but they just don't have that relationship with their parents. So this is going to be a video where we ask our parents college questions, college advice.
Camera's up there,
So,
not down there.
This is going to be a video where we ask our parents college advice for college advice. This
This is not their major, by the way.
Instead of words.
Sydney, go ahead. Ask your first question.
What was the hardest lesson you had to learn growing up or in college?
That your performance and the decisions that you make in college will carry on with you for pretty much the rest of your life. You subscribe to that lie of, whatever C is for certificate or whatever it is, D is for diploma.
That's so much.
Like all that kind of stuff. It has repercussions. In most cases, you're probably going to try to apply for something else. And what's the first thing that they're going to go out like this? Hey, let me see your college transcripts.
Yeah.
Right. So if you kind of skated, I dropped out of this class, I did all that stuff. Also, more than high school, like your work ethic, it gets developed in college, right? Because that's where your first time you're balancing out your primary job of going to class. Plus now I am just thrust into this social, world to where I get to make my own decisions. I get to do all that kind of stuff. And you're either going to, succeed or fail based on the things that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll probably say this more than once, but don't just view college as a means to an end.
Sure.
Because you've got to maximize and do the best you can while you're there, because it will affect your trajectory later on in life.
That's a really good answer. My answer would be completely different. You said the hardest lesson you had to learn in college. Mine would be sexual attention does not equal love. What relationship did you have in college?
I think this is before me.
Yeah, just in general, like that type of attention was not synonymous with love. I think I learned that in college. We'll just leave it at that, I think. Love was people respecting me and people valuing me for who I am and not what I did or what I provided for them.
And I think it's important for you guys, because again, you're in a new paradigm. You're in a new environment that you haven't been before, to where you get to make your decisions on where you go and who you hang out with. And just because you go to a party and a guy chats you up and is real sweet, and all the people in the room, he could be with anybody, he comes and talks to you. And then even whatever develops after that's not like attention, is not love, right? Because if he loved you, you probably wouldn't be there in the first place. I think another thing I was thinking of is, and it's kind of tangential to that, is being able to make your own decisions isn't the definition of maturity, right? Because that's kind of the trap we fall into, is I'm going to go and I'm going to make all these decisions because look at me, I'm so grown now and this kind of stuff. But it's the things that we seem to pursue are more immature than we did before. When we go out to try to prove to everyone how we make our own decisions, like we seem to want to pursue things that is the opposite of adulthood and maturity. I'm going to stay out late. I'm going to drink myself, unconscious.
Yeah.
But really all you're doing is you're demonstrating to the world how immature you can be. If you're out in the adult world, you're like, I'm going to aspire to how hammered I can get tonight before I have to go to work in the morning, all that kind of stuff, right? So those are the types of things. It's like you're going to be in this pursuit of proving to everyone in the world how grown you are, but in fact, you're just demonstrating how immature you still are.
Yeah.
Oh, I have so many questions. Who was influential in encouraging your growth as a college student? And I also have who was detrimental in encouraging.
Before you answer that, I'm going to change the camera
The
again.
absolute heck.
That's plugged in, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, the light is.
Yeah, I guess I'll just move it. Cinnamon coffee.
Did you say cinnamon?
Yeah.
Okay, so my second time in college, I was a little older after I'd had the two of you. I went to the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. Every single professor at the school there was a top level scholar in their field. It's like a treasure chest of people that really loved reading and learning. And so I learned from the absolute best, which is something I didn't get at Auburn. At Auburn, I was stuck in those big, huge classes, and I didn't get that one-on-one connection with professors. So I would say my professors at USCB, they were the ones who taught me to love learning. Probably for the first time, really, because I was really good in high school and I was really smart, but I didn't understand how you learn things that maybe were outside of your ability, or how you could keep working, like have that discipline that Dad was talking about earlier. I didn't learn that then. It took me way later and going through motherhood to understand all that.
The number one way to kind of sum that up is like either you're going to influence the company you keep, or the company you keep is going to influence you. It's like the only two options. Especially me being a non-traditional student, when going to Auburn, I had a lot of support from my family, from Aunt Carol, from Grammy, all that kind of stuff. This is a big undertaking, but you can do it, and we're here to support you. And Grammy supported me financially initially, and all that kind of stuff. And then once you're there, I kind of hung out with one crowd. They were influencing me, and not in a positive way. And once I changed that crowd to another crowd, primarily when I was involved, and Mom was involved in the Catholic Student Organization, we were there. And people were more like, we got to go to class. We got to do good things. I think Mom was very supportive to me too. When I was there.
Not of going to class. We were supportive of each other not going to class.
So it's the number one detriment I had was your mom.
It's true. There's no doubt. When I met him, he was so disciplined and organized, and he had a clear focus, and I just wrecked. I brought in every bit of corruption and wrecked his plan. I completely wrecked everything about you that was disciplined and organized and Christian, I would say. I wiped it out.
I mean, I'm not just going to throw it on Mom.
No, I did. I did.
There was some like 1 + 1 = 0. And that just kind of lends itself back to the beginning of like what the people around you encourage what you're doing. It's important, and that's very important for you guys, especially as you go through and looking at your group of friends and the people that you're around. Like, they can either be positive or they can be negative. It's all on the people that you choose. Like, do they not go to class? Do they drink alcohol underage? Like, do they just gaff off their assignments and not give their best? If you're not a strong enough person to influence them, then they're going to influence you.
And then you two were huge for my second time around. I always told Dad, like, if I'm going to take time away from my family, it better be worth it. To choose to go back to school and spend hours away from you, I couldn't take that lightly.
You got to choose wisely.
You do. And sometimes you have to cut. Like, they just don't belong in that season of your life.
You have to be part of the community. Because, that's what Scripture tells us, right? You're not designed to go cloister yourself and I just go to class and I study and then I go home. No, you've got to be part of a social group. Obviously, that's one of the things that my mentor, like younger pilots, that kind of stuff, is like you have to have something that has nothing to do with aviation. And you have to have groups that have nothing to do with academics, right?
Volleyball, like your group that you go play ball with, that's such a huge part of your fun, and that's great for your mental health. And going to work out or just going to eat, like any of those things. Also knowing when to like pare it down. Like, these folks don't work for me. These folks can work for me in this environment, but they can't work in this environment. What is the shrinking and like, I don't know, that toy that shrinks and
shrinking ball.
Yeah. Times when you can have it out, right? Like volleyball. Mm-hmm. And there are times when you're studying where you got to make it real small. Your Christian group, it might be a little bigger at church, but then when you're really trying to work on a certain thing, you need to get by yourself with God, right? So you have times when it's small, times when it's big, times when you're like, whoa, that's too big, like bring it back in. Yeah. Times when I'm lonely, let me stretch it back out a little bit. Like, you have to be smart about your circle.
You're building your foundation, and sure, you're going to have these friends that, they're so funny and they're the party guys and all that kind of stuff. But like, how is that truly going to benefit your life? Especially if you're part of a group where you feel the identity of the group is like going out, screwing off, like shirking responsibilities and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's okay that people like that and you can be influential on them. Are they truly on the same road as you, the things that you want in life? Or do you feel like I'm just a passenger along on their train that's just hurtling towards the edge of the cliff? Because in my experience, I knew a ton of guys like that and they didn't graduate.
Fun now, fun tonight is not the same as fun at 40. Yeah. Ooh, this is really fun tonight, but is this going to be something that's fun when I'm 40 and I have no degree and I have no real substantial life?
All these little stereotypes. I mean, college now, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be going to frat parties and doing kid stands.
You, bro. You
were in a frat.
Okay.
Well, in lacrosse frat.
He was on the lacrosse team, and he was.
No, it was a legit frat.
That's the next question.
Charlotte, I don't know why we didn't play. Let's go.
Come on, dude. Wasting time.
All right. Is it important to have a mentor?
So one of the things that I think it's important to have is good, strong self-efficacy. If you don't know, do you know what self-efficacy means?
Yeah, totally.
I didn't know that was a word.
Basically, it's your ability to deal with stress and resistance, and every time you get into a difficult situation, right? And the people who have high self-efficacy, number one, like they have a mentor, they have a person that they look towards. It'd either be I really like what that person accomplished. That's what I want to do, and I want to use their methods. Or the other way is, well, dude, like if they can make it, then I know that I can make it.
Mhm.
You know, that kind of thing. Yep. And the next one is just past experiences. Kind of that road I got where I am. Like I went through this difficult situation and I made through it. I got through this difficult situation and made through that. Then I encountered this difficult situation. Based on my previous experience, I know that I can go through that.
Yeah.
Like one of the main ones for self-efficacy is support system, people around you, people who like encourage you, keep you going, like all that kind of stuff.
To have a mentor is like to have somebody that's gone where you want to go or is where you want to go, and they kind of like tell you how they got there and make the road easier for you. I don't learn like that. I learn through experience. My road to the end, to success or to failure, whatever that ends up looking like, is going to be like this. It's just going to be like that, and that's how it is. I don't think there's another way for people like us.
I think a mentor provides you wisdom, right? Like there's a difference between wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge is learning from your own mistakes, and wisdom is learning from the mistakes of others, right? Like they're going to be able to lay things flat so that you don't have to develop knowledge, which means you're going to go and you're going to make all your own mistakes.
Yeah. But it's fun.
When people talk to me like that, it feels like they're talking down to me, or like they're mansplaining, or like they're
I really don't care for that.
I know you don't care for it, but I feel like it's an appropriate word. I feel that pressure of like, if I don't do it their way, which I never want to do it their way anyway, because I want to do it my own way. If I don't do it that way, I'm trapped in some kind of cage, and I don't want to. That makes me feel so icky and uncomfortable.
If the audience is college students, like I would say one of your first mentors are your parents.
Yeah, like I learned some key attributes or characteristics that I admired. So I have people that I admired along the way. One of those was my dad. I felt like he was the nicest human being that I'd ever met. And so I always felt like him thinking I was a nice person was important to me. One time when I was little, he called me caustic. Caustic means that what you say and how you treat people is like hurtful, like you're spitting acid on
Like
people.
toxic.
It has never left my heart. Yeah. And so from there, like I always think back to that when I'm talking to other people, and I just always think like, am I being kind? Aww. So it's like when you admire somebody, and it's like the words they speak go straight to your heart, whether it's good or bad or encouraging. I mean, I think that a big portion of like why I'm kind is because of him.
Oh,
Let's shop and make your mom cry.
I know.
I didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
What percentage would you give to another person's criticism, and what percentage do you put into yourself? So when I had to do my portfolio review and I called you about that, thank you. They were very harsh about it, and you kind of had to take it with a grain of salt, is because that didn't make sense.
I struggled so much with taking other people's opinions, like how they perceive me or what they saw when I walked in the room mattered so much to me. I have had to completely switch to where I am confident in my own self. I receive my own worth from God directly, and that comes through no one else. And I'll trust your father after a lot of time, 15 years of marriage. I now trust your father's opinion and trust him to be telling me the truth. Trust that I
Married almost 22, but
at that point, I would say I let him factor in some. So if he said you really shouldn't wear that, I'd be like,
that was a hypothetical. Don't say like,
No, wait a second.
as a creator of something artistic, there's a large portion of it that's me, and it won't ever back off of that. For me, the percentage would definitely be like 85 me and 15, right? Other people.
And what about
That's the right man.
It's like simple math on camera. That's rough. That's come with me losing some pride, which is a good thing. But it doesn't come from my self-esteem being dependent on other people. Just from God to me, and then I'll take a little bit of your father's opinion.
So if anybody's providing me feedback, debrief points, whatever it is, you have to consider the source. Like number one, like what's their expertise? Number two, what's their reputation? I would never take advice from somebody who hasn't failed. You got to have enough failures to have that learning from there, and then people who perform at a high level. And I will say that it comes down, like your mom said, to self-assurance, right? So if you don't have that self-confidence, that self-esteem, or better yet, that God confidence, that God esteem, that God assurance, to where you're defining who you are, then you're allowing other people to define you, right? And that's when you start developing characters. I'm just going to play the character. I think I'm being this person, but then what am I really doing? Now I'm just living up to expectations that other people have of that character. But that's one of the biggest things as a sign of maturity, is having confidence in who you are. Like, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. Like, this is who I am. And if you don't like it, then I don't know what to tell you. Because I'm a delight. And it's a process, right? Like, you're going to go through the things. I'm going to try all these other characters. When I'm with that group, I got to act this way. That group, I got to act this way. I hope those two groups will never meet. Why are you talking with an English accent? What I firmly believe is that people who don't have content play characters.
Yeah.
You can't maintain two characters. You can't be the one that God created you to be, right? The one He wants you to be. You can't maintain the other one, the veneer, the facade, like this other fake one that you think the world wants to see.
You should always take in other people's opinions and their perspectives and their advice. Take it, and then you kind of filter it. You keep what's valuable, that's helpful, and you let go and say, okay, thanks. Like, just release it to the world, the parts that you don't need.
Going back to that group, you should always have people who hold you accountable. You should have people who provide you feedback in a gentle, loving, kind way.
We should dive into some very shallow and easy lightning round questions. So, from a parent perspective, girls that seem to be seeking male attention, what would your advice be to those girls seeking sexual attention?
Looking at sexual attention, right? Unfortunately, as time has gone by and generation after generation, we've established sexual activity as the coin of the realm, right? We've said that that's how you derive your value, by getting that male to pick you.
I think that would have benefited me, is what do you gain from gaining the male attention, right? And the answer is you feel loved, you feel beautiful, you feel like you have something to offer, because a lot of the other stuff is painful and you have to deal with that. And so you're basically wanting a distraction. You're wanting to shift that attention onto something else. And if you can gain that male sexual attention, then you feel like you're valuable.
I think that's the key. You ascribe some sort of value to probably the most basic, emotionless, and loveless thing that you can receive.
From a boy, they have this huge surge of let's have sex every 15 minutes. We only get that once in a 30-day period.
What?
Yes. That kick of testosterone, it comes on day like 10 through 15 of your cycle. You get that kick of testosterone where you're like, yes, I'd like to produce a baby.
Yeah.
And so for women, you think about it, like if we're sexually attracted and like testosterone toward a man, like that's pretty special. But for them, it's like, yes. So you're not even getting something valuable to them.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking about sex.
No, I think
I see that so often in like putting someone down for what they wear or what they look like or what they like. I don't feel comfortable putting judgment on like what people wear specifically, because men will react however they want to react, and like both ways. The amount of stories I hear where like men will do things and the woman was wearing a sweatshirt, one was wearing sweatpants, one was not like in her pajamas or something like that. It had nothing to do with what she was wearing. When we get into the territory where we judge people's modesty, or we judge people's character based on what they wear to a bar, or what they wear to a party, or what they wear to church, even like those kinds of things, it gets into a dangerous territory where you're saying someone's value is attributed to their clothes.
they should wear the clothing that they want to wear. They should think through, why am I doing this? If the answer is for somebody else, then you need to go back in your closet and reevaluate. But it does not give any male the right to behave in a way that is not consensual.
I guess for my last question, let's just talk about something fun. How do you balance fun and work?
You become an expert in time management. That's one of the things that I wish that I did a better job when I was in college, when I was younger. Remembering why you're there. Like, you're not there to go to a party that's kind of broken up by going to class. You are there to learn, to get an education, and to get the credentials so that you can continue on with your life, so that you are in a higher pay scale, like you are more comfortable. Like that's why you're at school. Having a game plan, like knowing, like before you go to bed the night before, this is what I have to do tomorrow, right? These are all the things that I'm going to do, that type of thing, prioritizing them in order of importance and that type of thing. And then going and executing that game plan. Don't fall into that trap of, I'll do my homework when I get home. If you're there, Like focus, do all that stuff, get everything done, not just to complete it, but to do it the best that you can. The last thing you do when you're done with your studying and your homework and your class, all that kind of stuff, is once again prioritizing the things that you need to do tomorrow. Close that planner and go do whatever you're going to do. Get the stuff that you have to get done first. Right? Like get the, like, don't wait till the last minute to do the papers. Don't wait till the last minute to do the homework and all that kind of stuff. Build that discipline now. Develop those habit patterns now of getting all the things that you have to get done to the best ability that you can, so that once you're done with it, man, I got the rest of the night. I don't have to sit there and stew and worry and like keep pushing things off, or like ruining my weekend because now I'm going to try to catch up on Sunday to make, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like be an expert in time management, because eventually, again, you're going to go and you're going to have families, and when you're home, you got to be home.
Last question is, this recorded session is not abnormal in our family. This is what we do every single night at the dinner table. This is what we do sitting outside by the pool. We have we have this conversation all the time, and we get advice from you all the time. We'll be in Auburn and we'll be constantly texting and asking you guys questions.
At least 2 or 14 times a day.
What is your advice to kids, you know, striving to have that relationship with their parents again, trying to get, you know, closer to their parents, or even if they don't have that relationship? Seek
those in your life that have wisdom. If you don't have that relationship with your parents or your family for whatever reason, then like your friends as mentors and accountability partners, you know, your church leadership, like your youth pastor, your campus pastor, that type of thing. Can't be an island. I mean, again, this is full circle to a lot of things that we've talked about, like the self-efficacy, having a really good support system. It's positive, like that it's like positively contagious, that holds you accountable and those types of things. Like whatever you want to call it, your little friend group, like you guys say.
Squad.
I think you should have to say that.
Taylor Swift has a squad. She's really popular.
Your friend with Taylor Swift? You can have different people that fill that role, but I would definitely have someone.
Sure.
You know, we've talked about a lot of stuff, a lot of things that just come from the past 30 years, like since, you know, we've graduated and that type of thing. But it doesn't have to be a handle, it doesn't have to be a grind. We still want you guys to enjoy the time, enjoy college. You're never going to have that opportunity again. Never in your life will you ever have that opportunity of like your 4 years of undergraduate school, right?
I think about that all the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Go to basketball games, go to football games, go to activities. Don't live a commuter lifestyle.
Yeah.
Don't just go to class and then go back to your whoopee, you know, in your condo. Be involved, because you're not going to have this time again. Yes, this is the hardest that it's ever been for you guys, but it's the easiest it's ever going to be.
Yes.
This is the easiest.
Well, I thought that was a really good talk. I think it was very constructive, and we hit on a lot of points that I think are going to be really beneficial to a lot of people. So thank you guys. Is there anything you want to add? Okay, go ahead.
Sign off with finger guns.
I
really don't think
Because they work.
No.
Oh! I'm making bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches,
Do you have bacon?
which you got the other day.
We don't have bacon.
We used to.
I'm making a joke that
Oh.
like the first ingredient we don't have.
Get the cornbread.
Okay.
It was like my dad was very diaphragm. Don't make me laugh because it makes it worse.
Okay,
So,
all right. So I think
that's the thumbnail right there.
I like that my hair is showing up kind of well on them.
it is. It looks great. You look fantastic. My age, a lot of people I see walking around.
Doing the right thing, right? What is that?
I was actually in the middle of saying something profound, and then it's just like.
See, this is why we can't start anything, because there's 10 billion things that happen.
Really good at this. You're gonna get a lot of
I'm
views.
so glad we planned all this out just for you to be like, people skills.
Wow. Okay.
I'm like, so, what's your deepest darkest sin? Tell me your greatest sin.
The point you made before would be attention. What would you?
Butt came back.
Okay.
Your butt came back. What?
No, please. God.
She said the butt came back.
That was so loud.
possessive. When a mommy dog does not love a daddy dog.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking about sex.
No, I think Andy, hey guys, shut.
All right, stop.
Yeah.